Well, hey there, Mama, and welcome back to the Mom's Overcoming Overwhelm podcast, episode number 198. I'm Emily McDermott, and I'm here beside you on this journey as we work together to declutter your home, head, and heart. We are officially in summer, and that means our kids are home. More than maybe some of us would like. Yeah, my kids are with my husband right now at a movie, which is why I am recording the podcast now in this small, quiet pocket of time when my kids are actually gone. And maybe you've noticed as they've been home that their rooms are complete disasters. And perhaps you always knew that, but then the fact that it's summer means that they're home more often and you're really like, oh my gosh, this needs to change. Well, as part of our room by room series, today we are going to be going through decluttering kids' rooms and their clothing. And if you have listened to the previous episodes in the room by room series, we have already talked about the master bedroom in addition to the kitchen and also closets. So some of this will be a review, but this is specifically geared towards our kids, which of course can come with its own challenges. So what do you say? Grab the notebook and pen and let's dive into today's episode. Hey Mama, are you tired of your cluttered home and mile-long to-do lists but are too overwhelmed to know where to start? Do you lack the time and motivation and don't think you'll ever conquer the clutter? You're in the right place. I'm Emily, wife, boy mom, and declutter coach who has overcome the overwhelm in my own life through decluttering and simplifying. I believe every mom deserves the peace that comes from a clutter-free home. Ready to get your life back? Let's declutter your home, head, and heart together. So even though it is summer, we are going to be having some decluttering challenges in the group, not as much as usual just because of summer schedules, but make sure that if you aren't already a part that you join us at tinyurl.com/moms overcoming overwhelm, answer those 3 membership questions, and then you will be the first to know the next time we do one of our challenges. And speaking of challenges, getting our kids to keep their rooms clean is definitely a challenge, but you can involve your kids depending on their age because even preschoolers can be involved in the decluttering and cleaning process. Now, if you've listened to some of the episodes about the science behind clutter, you may remember that children, since their brains are developing up until their 20s, they learn by their senses, and so clutter and extra stuff is really sensory overwhelm for them. So if you were telling your kids, hey, your rooms are disasters, go and clean them up, and they don't even know where to start, or it seems like they're just not doing it and they're being defiant, it's likely that they're just overwhelmed by the amount of stuff. And that's why it's so important that we help them and guide them and support them in this process. So we have talked in the previous room by room series episodes all about the 3 F's. And if you don't know what those are, they are the questions that we ask before we approach any room. And we can actually do this with our kids too, but we're going to do it in a slightly different way. So the 3 F's are: how do I want my room to feel? How do I want it to function? And how do I want it to flow? So depending on the age of your children, you can actually do this at a very young age, talking to them and saying, hey, I noticed that it's kind of hard to clean up your room. It's kind of difficult to get around. What are some of the things that you want to be able to do in your room? And you can always help them along, especially if they're young. Well, we want to make sure that you can have a good night's rest, that you can maybe play or read. And right now, it seems like there's so much stuff in here, you're not actually able to move around. You're not able to feel rested and peaceful and have kind of that quiet time. So we want to make sure that we can help, because then when mommy and daddy say, hey, time to clean up your room, it's something that goes really, really quick, and then you can get back to playing. So again, depending on the age of your children, and if they're a little bit older, maybe it is really that like being able to just chill, have that relaxation time, be able to find stuff when they need it. So you can kind of determine what the motivation would be for your own kid because you know them the best, and really highlighting the benefits of having a room that is organized, where there is a lot of space to be able to play and do the things that are important to them, and how too much stuff prevents them from being able to do that. The other thing I want to mention is being able to create their room around rest and quiet play. I feel like is really important. I have always been a little countercultural in that our children don't have their toys in their room. We have kind of a common area where we have toys. They have their treasure box, in quotes, which I've talked about before, but that's just a shoebox. Otherwise, they have a desk where they can color or draw or write. They have their books, some of their books. And so we would probably not want to have a lot of loud toys in there, things with lots of flashing lights, because we want to be able to support resting, relaxation, and then also a lot of times my kids will say, well, why do you have me go to my room? Because they might see it as like a punishment if we need to separate them or something. And I explained to them, that's really where you need to be able to calm down and to kind of restore when you are, I don't use this word, but dysregulated, really. So if your kids are constantly dysregulated and you're having them go to their rooms and then their rooms are a mess, then it makes it more difficult for them to regulate their emotions again. So there's a lot of benefit for that. But the question is how? You might be able to explain, even in a way that they support, that yes, it's great to have a cleaner and organized room, but how do I do that? Well, everything is supporting the vision based upon the 3 F's that we talked about. And then we're going to use the container concept that we use for everything because it is so fabulous. And I always want to make sure I give the proper credit to Dana K. White of A Slob Comes Clean, because she is the one that taught me about this, and it is just so incredibly fundamental, and especially when we're teaching our kids. I'm going to be linking to a playlist that I have all about kids and family episodes and getting family members on board, getting kids on board, so you can kind of review some of those former episodes. But essentially, we want to show our kids that there are boundaries around the different categories of things in their room. So books, for example, cubbies or bookshelves are great examples of that. When you have toys, if you have any toys in there, having those cubbies or having that, set amount of space. Artwork, our kids have cork boards in their rooms, and so they're making decisions on what artwork they're displaying based upon that limit. And then clothing, they have dresser drawers. My son actually put his desk in his closet because of the size of the room, and he doesn't have any hanging clothes because the desk is in there. So all of his things are in one dresser. And because of that, I have chosen to put dividers in the drawers. I just use Amazon boxes that I've cut off the flaps. You can get more fancy if you want, but being able to have that physical boundary is really helpful. So for example, for their top drawers, we have socks in one box, we have underwear, we have pajama bottoms, pajama shirts. And so anytime one of those boundaries gets full, then we know that there's too much, and then we're able to make those decisions. And of course, my favorite game, especially to play with kids, Love, Like, Maybe No, using their treasure, quote unquote, box as an example. All the trinkets that they've ever gotten from birthday parties, from school, from vacation Bible school, all of these different things. And actually, theirs are getting really full right now because they were just at vacation Bible school. And I said, okay, well, we're going to have to play Love, Like, Maybe No pretty soon. Now, they've had these shoes boxes, I think, since they were about 3 years old. And they've been the same exact shoe boxes. Now they are 7 and 9 years old. So we are making decisions based upon that same boundary. We don't get a bigger bin. We don't fill our rooms with a bunch of plastic crap. I don't really call it plastic crap to them, but that's what I'm thinking. And so Love, Like, Maybe No means that you're starting with what you love the most, and then what you like. And then as the boundary gets more full, you're making decisions on the maybes and the nos. And that's going to take some practice. I mean, my kids have been doing this for a while, so they're actually sometimes proactive about it. Or if I talk to them about it, they don't really balk at it. But if you get pushback from the kid that wants to keep everything, by the way, one of the episodes in that playlist is about what do I do when my kids want to keep everything. you might want to consider that out of mind, out of sight, out of mind bin, which is that you'll just kind of put those things aside. Let's use stuffies as an example, because pretty much every mom I talk to, they're like, oh my gosh, my kid has like 50 stuffies. Like, what is going on? Part of it is that we need to stop buying stuffies, and we need to tell the generous grandparents, stop buying stuffies. That is another episode for another day. But based upon how many they have, you might say, okay, well, how many do you sleep with at night? And I mean, my kids sleep with 1 or 2. Maybe your kids sleep with up to 5. I don't know. But there's a certain number where like the stuffies are getting lost, or it's impeding their sleep, right? So determining how many you want to have in the bed, and then having some other container. Maybe it's one of those hammock things that are hanging from the ceiling. Perhaps it's a bin. And then we're going to be filling that with the stuffies that we love the most. And if there are ones that don't fit in there, you could always say, oh, well, we'll just keep these aside for right now and see how we do with the stuffies that we have in your room. That way you have room to play. And then you can have those in an out of sight, out of mind bin. And if your kid's like, Mom, where's Mr. Duck? I want to play with Mr. Duck. Then you just go ahead and get Mr. Duck. And you can maybe say, okay, well, we're bringing Mr. Duck in, so who do we want to switch out? And kind of giving this idea of there is a set space for this. You get to make the decision. Kids love it to be able to be involved and to have choice in the matter. So let's give them some agency. You can also have your kids involved in the donating process. So let's say they say, okay, well, I'm done with Mr. Duck. If you want to put it on, buy nothing, and then show your kids, oh, look, there's someone in our neighborhood. They're going to come and pick up Mr. Duck. And your kid can actually be there when you're putting it on the porch or meeting your neighbor. And sometimes it's nice, because buy nothing is so hyper local, if the adult that you are giving it to can have maybe like a picture of Mr. Duck in the new room, or maybe with the new, the child that's getting it, then that really makes your kid feel good. Like, oh, wow, I gave this to someone, and here's the actual person that I gave it to, which is great. And you can also have them ride along if you're going to Goodwill, if you want to put things up for consignment, like clothing, for example, if you want to do that because there's a consignment sale every year that you like to be involved in. They can be involved in deciding what goes for consignment, and maybe even you can give them part of the profits that you make based upon how much they're willing to let go of for the consignment sale. It's all about what motivates them. There are also some TV episodes that might support them as well. Someone in my community let me know about some Bluey episodes, specifically Mr. Monkey Jocks. I'm going to link to all these in the show notes. But there's also some episodes from Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, Doc McStuffins, Peppa Pig, and it's all showing about letting things go, being able to be generous, all of these things that we're trying to support for our children. So there you have it. That's how we approach our kids' rooms and also their closets. Again, this is age specific. If you have a specific issue based upon your kid's age or perhaps their temperament or personality, come on over to the free Facebook group, tinyurl.com/moms overcoming overwhelm, and we can chat about it. So I hope you're having a wonderful summer, and I will see you next Thursday. Hey Mama, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, could you please share this episode with another mom who is feeling overwhelmed? Also, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a 5-star written review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Finally, if you would like more support, come on over to our free Facebook group, tinyurl.com/moms overcoming overwhelm. Can't wait to connect with you soon.